you love the Dastardly decimal system and want more? Our Patreon is the best way to get that. Members will get access to show notes, official artwork, our new bonus episode series called Cleaning Up After Tea Time, and of course plenty of cat pics of Vega voice actors Vash and Zid. This can all be found at patreon.com/Dastardly Decimal System.
What is this? More fools come to die under Skalmad's axe. You cannot stop me, small humans. You are too weak, and I am too strong. Skalmad, King of the Trolls. Welcome, humble adventurers, to my realm of knowledge and mystery. Here, in my cursed library, are endless tomes and scrolls on the darkest and evilest foes in all of the realms, be they from Dungeons & Dragons, Pathfinder, the many worlds of darkness, or any realm in between. Welcome to the Dastardly Decimal System. I'm your caretaker of the corrupt, the librarian, Castor Cain. Trolls are fearsome creatures, ones that can easily fell an unprepared company of adventurers. They are brutally strong, have regenerative blood, and an unquenchable hunger. Their only saving grace is their dim minds and their dislike of others of their own kin. Without those two flaws, countless worlds would be overrun by trolls. So what happens when an intelligent troll arises? What happens when that troll unites others of his kind to form a menacing, marching troll army? For today's topic, I have brewed a pot of Feywild Frolic tea. It is a green tea, oolong blend with pineapple and mango mix-ins. This chaotically beautiful tea replicates the feel of its namesake plane. So let me pour us each a cup as I talk about Skalmad, the King of the Trolls. A typical troll stands about 9 feet tall with long, ungainly legs. They have thin bodies with thick, rubbery hides. Their long, hanging arms are topped by a set of massive, baleful claws. Although they walk upright, trolls possess a severe hunch, which causes the back of their hands to drag on the ground. Even when they run, their arms dangled still. However, trolls were most infamously known for their regeneration. It was an ability so great that it could rapidly heal most wounds and even repaired severed limbs. Skalmad the Troll wasn't a genius by the standards of men or elves, but he was far swifter of thought than other of his kind. He had a troll's standard great strength and often used it in battle. Skalmad fought with a large, frightening axe that he would wield with such strength and frenzy that a single strike could knock prone even the strongest of fighters. He surrounded himself with powerful artifacts, including the Morin's Eye and the Stone Cauldron. The eye allowed him to stun and slow a foe and even prevent them from teleporting. It also produced fiery beams that could painfully scorch the flesh of a close-quartered combatant. He also had access to the Stone Cauldron, a magical landmark that not only protected him, but punished attacking foes with bursts of fey fire. I have visited and scryed upon many worlds, yet amongst them, Nentir Vale is rarely spoken of. Perhaps it is due to its horrific monsters, or the deadly beasts that call the plane home. But my research has shown that this land is as rich in history as it is monstrosities. In the far frontier of the barony of Therund lies the small town of Moonstairs. East of the town lies the dangerous wilderness known as the Trollhaunt. This is a maze of swampland, thickets, gullies, and forested ridges. In ages past, This area was once called Vardar, a violent realm of troll clans and the monsters that served them. They were led by an ancient ruler and Vardar's founder and namesake, Vard, King of the Trolls. Vard was a terrifying ruler, feared by many. It took the united forces of several kingdoms to stop the unfellable beast. Yet each time victory seemed certain, Vard somehow returned. Eventually, though, Vardar was sacked, and Vard was forever slain in the Battle of Catarhawk. The Troll Kingdom fell into ruin, leaving only dank barrows and few fog-shrouded stone forts as the only proof of its existence. As the centuries passed, the trolls descended into savagery and brutality. Any semblance of the organized war clans that once existed had long since vanished. Eons passed before the world was introduced to Skalmad. He was just a regular troll, save for a slightly keener mind. Like most of his kin, he was untrusting of his own kind. He'd seen small bands of trolls together, but avoided them, knowing that eventually they would either find other trolls to slay or battle amongst themselves. Skalmad kept to himself and continued his hunt, exploring the Trollhaunts when possible. While exploring a stone barrow, he discovered a powerful artifact long since hidden away by troll shamans. It was a crystal orb, a translucent orange sphere that was warm to the touch and designed to look like a cat's eye. It wasn't a real one, don't worry. For a normal human, it was the size of a mystic's crystal ball. But for a large creature like a troll, it was the perfect size for a replacement eye. This was Moran's eye. It was an artifact created with a combination of Fomorian arcana and corrupted fell magic. King Moran transformed his evil eye into a crystal vessel filled with magical fire. He crafted several of these that he bestowed to monsters in exchange for fealty. Even as he held it, Skalmad could sense the immense power coming from the orb. It wasn't long before the troll carved out his own eye and replaced it with the orb. Moran's eye gave him the ability to stop a fleeing foe, to assault them with smoldering flames, and to even prevent them from teleporting. It also showed him the location of a portal to the Feywild, hidden deep within a crumbling stronghold known as the Great Warren. Skalmad entered the portal. He found himself at the Mroskag fortress, which held an ancient Fomorian artifact known as the Stone Cauldron. With this power at his disposal, Skalmad was suddenly filled with images and visions of power. It was here, deep in this fortress, that his dreams of domination were born. World domination and the eradication of men could not be done by one soul. It would require an army. Skalmad started by uniting the trolls. He wooed some with promises of food and carnage, and those who didn't join, he dominated into submission with the power of his eye. Trolls of all sorts and breeds fell under his command, be they ice trolls, worn trolls, or even the rare vine speakers. Those that he was forced to slay, he then raised as skeletons or ghosts and added them to his army. Creatures all across Trollhaunt started to see Skalmad's power and began to ally themselves with him. Creatures like Grimlocks, ogres, wargs, and even a nearby cluster of Kuatoa mercenaries. Gloomfang, a swamp-dwelling black dragon, saw greedy potential in Skalmad's reign and decided to ally himself with the newly crowned Troll King. Skalmad even began to find allies from within the Feywild, hags, manticores, and wyverns. For better or worse, tales of Skalmad the Unkillable began to ripple outward. Nearby drow wanted to ally with him, while the Eladrin wanted his demise. Word had even reached the famous hero and son of the Baron, Itheran Therond. Equipped with his legendary blade Sunwrath, Itheron rode off into the Trollhaunts in order to slay the Troll King. 3 days later, a gaggle of trolls arrived at Moonstair's gate and pitched the decapitated head of Itheron over the wall. "Your hero is dead, puny humans. Skalmad the Great killed him. Soon, Skalmad, the King of Vardar, will claim Moonstair and lands beyond. All humans will die." Desperate for revenge, a band of heroes decided to end the threat once and for all. They marched across Trollhaunt and invaded the Great Warrens. Inch by inch, room by room, the heroes fought through the stronghold. Yet, as they traveled further inwards, the heroes couldn't help but find the Troll King's forces a little underwhelming. The Great Warrens wasn't empty, but it was far from full. Where was this terrifying army that everyone spoke of? About halfway through the stronghold, they were confronted by Skalmad himself. He laughed and mocked the heroes before engaging them in battle. He fought alongside Warren Trolls and the one-eyed aberrations known as the Nothic. The battle was long and vicious as Skalmad showed his intense strength and power, his troll blood healing whatever damage they may have caused. Yet with teamwork, magic, and the assistance of fire and acid, they were finally able to cut down Skalmad. As the heroes stood over the troll, watching him gasp for air and barely clinging to life, Skalmad still mocked them once more. "You may have beaten me for now, but already my warriors march on your hometown. Moonstair will fall and I will feast on the children of Theron before the full moon rises." As the last syllable left his dying mouth, the orange stone in the troll's eye socket began to glow brightly, spreading out to bathe his whole body in blinding light. An instant later, the Troll King's body is consumed by a blazing light. The orb in the body suddenly vanished in a flash of crimson. As the heroes stood there, unsure of what had just happened, realization crossed their mind. The reason the Great Warren seemed so empty was because the Troll King's forces were marching to attack. The invasion of Moonstair was about to begin. Skalmad united all of Trollhaunt's most dangerous beasts into a large army and marched upon Moonstairs. The guards and swords of the city fought the invading army, using whatever coin they had to hire nearby mercenaries and heroes to fight by their side. They even called upon the Eladrin allies who sought the Troll King's end. The combined forces fought off the wargs and trolls, even taking down the aerial threats of wyverns and manticores, and turning away the nautical attacks of the Kuatoa. It was a long battle that lasted several days, but somehow, with only the will of whatever god that watched over, the town of Moonstair somehow survived. Yet, as the order for retreat was called, and the monsters turned away, several humans and the heroes themselves spotted a familiar form on the battlefield. Standing at the head of all of the carnage, leading his troops, was Skalmad, alive once more. Unsure of how he had returned, and aware that the attacks would not stop as long as he lived, the heroes set out to return to the Great Warren. Once again they found themselves fighting through each room of the stronghold, and eventually ending up in the makeshift lair of Gloomfang. The Black Dragon wasn't eager to leap directly into combat, being bored with the dull minds of trolls and their slaves. Instead, he was excited to see a new collection of faces, and ones that were far more keen of thought and mind than trolls. He spoke to the heroes in a sibilant voice. Gloomfang had no love for Skalmad, seeing only opportunity for gold by his side, but saw far greater wealth if the Troll King was slain. With careful negotiation and praise, the heroes bargained for safe passage past the dragon. And they also bartered for a magical, acidic greatsword. The heroes continued their way inwards until they finally reached the throne cavern. Skalmad stood by a purple crystal throne, talking with a pair of drow. Skalmad looked more gaunt than before, but his eyes glowed even brighter with bright fire magic. Both parties engaged in careful negotiations until they noticed the hero's presence. Then combat broke out. Skalmad fought as strong as before, but now with drow by his side. Yet as the tides of war turned, so too did the drow. They swiftly fled, leaving Skalmad to fight alone. Left with no other option, the Troll King dashed for the purple throne. As his long arms came into contact with the purple crystal, the Troll King vanished in a flash of magical energy. The heroes followed and found themselves in the Feywild, deep within the walls of Mroskag. In the fortress's center was a chamber, one that held a large ring of black stones. Standing beside it was Skalmad, but the eyes within the body were not his own. A new voice spoke from within the Troll King's mouth. I am Vard, founder of Vardar, and the one true king of all trolls. Your existence shall no longer be tolerated. The stone cauldron was built eons ago by Fomorian mages. It was an artifact built atop the waters of a mysterious spring. In truth, the cauldron was little more than a vessel for the chaotic magic that lay beneath, the stone circle funneling it into a useful artifact. When the one true king of trolls first founded Vardar, he bound his soul to the cauldron. Whenever he died, he was brought back, just albeit a little bit more ghastly. After too many deaths, there was little of Vard remaining. He was forever trapped within the cauldron. That is, until Skalmad arrived. When the new troll bound himself to the eye in the cauldron, Vard finally had a method of return. He began to whisper to Skalmad from the depths of his own mind, making Vard's thoughts and desires seem like his own. Making Vard's wish to rebuild Vardar seem like an idea of Skalmad's making. With each death that Skalmad suffered, the eye would return him to the fortress, and the cauldron would return him to life. And with each resurrection, Vard gained a little more footing in Skalmad's mind. Now, his control was complete, and he had full command over Skalmad's body. Vard, the one true king of trolls, had made his triumphant return. The heroes fought against Vard, finding his strength and cunning to be beyond that of even Skalmad. Worse still, if the heroes did manage to defeat Vard, he would re-emerge from the cauldron seconds later, fully healed and ready to fight. It wasn't until Moran's eye was submerged within the cauldron that the artifact shattered, forever breaking the resurrection cycle. Or did it? As mentioned before, the stone cauldron was not the source of the magic. That came from an underground stream that flowed throughout the Feywild. The cauldron was simply a device that funneled the magic into a useful form. So the question begs to be asked. What happened to the souls of Skalmad and Vard? Are they truly lost, or are they flowing through the Feywild in some sort of Midgard-based life stream? If so, what happens when the chaotic magic stream decides to eject either one of them, or both of the Troll Kings? Could we see a return of a magic-infused Troll King? Or worse still, could we see the return of both kings, each claiming the rightful heir to the throne? Could this be the Troll Civil War? And if so, how much are the rest of us gonna suffer? It seems that our tea has once again run dry, which means our time is now up. Join me again in my library for more stories and lore about the darkest villains from the darkest realms. This has been the Dastardly Decimal System, and once again, I'm your librarian, Castor Cain. The Dastardly Decimal System can be found on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok at DD System Podcast. That's Delta Delta System Podcast. Drop us a message and say hi. Vega always loves the attention. This podcast was produced by Midnight Reading Audio, a division of Midnight Reading Publishing. The voice of Castor Cain is Larry Gent. Hi. The voice of Vega is provided by our cats, Vash and Zid. Music was Out of Time by Zakhar Valaha from Pixabay, licensed on the Creative Commons. Thank you, and have a wonderful, wonderful evening.